Good morning. It's Dave Knight here at 123daytrade.com. Thank you for watching. Thanks for being here. Today is Wednesday, August 22nd, 2018. We're on inventory day. Once again, what am I talking about? What inventory? What's that all about? It is the most manipulated report under the sun, as far as I'm concerned, and to be able to trade. You can see the blue line represents the actual, with the gold line representing what they're projecting. And you can see places in time where, like right here, they missed it completely. They're expecting around like 500,000, and it comes out to be 15 million. And even last week, they were expecting a drawdown of negative 3 point something million, and it is a positive 6.8 of surplus. So this report itself is one of those reports that you sit back and you go, what? How can you miss that many barrels of oil? I mean, how can you miss this many? How can you miss it that bad? And it's all about manipulating the public, as far as I'm concerned. This is psychology. This is Psych 101 in session right here. If anyone's taken a psychology course or read any books, I mean, this is Psychology 101 in play every day, or once a week. So one of the things that I kind of want to talk about just before we get going in the 10:30 mark is right now I'm reading this book. Where's the title? Confessions of a Wall Street Addict from Jim Cramer. And I mean, granted, the guy, it's actually a pretty decent book as far as some of the things that he's went through and where he's got to. But he's also, let's talk about what he is, and then let's talk about what you see out there. Let's get rid of this. And what you see out there that translates out to things that he's talked about. It basically comes down to pumping and dumping. Not him particularly. I won't say that Jim Cramer is a pump and dumper, but the concepts that he talked about, you see being translated out in a lot of these stock rooms today. Especially the ones that are famous here on YouTube that got lots of subscribers and got lots of people in their rooms. I mean, who's to say that they're actually trading? Who's to say that they are not buying this stock in front of you and selling into the crowd that they've created? So to be able to talk about something and say, hey, I really like this stock at this price, and then their room says, oh yeah, we've just hit it, and then they just go in there and they buy it. Now, let's think about the psychology of this. If someone talks about something like the tulip mania, and as far as this has been going on since probably the beginning of time. The tulip mania, it's the thought process that something will go up as long as there's a greater fool above you that will buy ahead of you. I mean, it will buy after you got rid of it. So something has a tendency to keep going up until there's no more buyers. Likewise, the other side. Something will continue to go down until there's no more sellers. But a lot of these stock rooms that you see out, most of them, I would say, I would go as far as 95% of all the stock rooms out here do some form of pumping and dumping in front of you. They will get into ABC Corp or whatever. It doesn't matter what the product is. They'll buy into it, and then they'll maybe buy. Let's say that they decide that they want to stage in 3 different times or 5 different times they'll show you buying. Maybe it's 5 times. They've already bought into it 4 different times, and then they talk about it in their room for the 5th time, and you see them buying that particular stock. The thing that they don't tell you about is that they're already 80% invested in it when they're buying that last 20%. So they're getting a little bit more of a push And then all of a sudden they say, well, I'm going to start taking some money off. And then they start, once they start doing that, they've already been taking money off. Maybe they got a guy right next to them that's taking money off as they're talking about, here I am buying. So as soon as they see the crowd moving into it, they're able to sell into that crowd, because literally they're the ones holding the stock to start with, right? Especially some of these small caps. They're holding it and they're selling into you as they're talking about it. And then eventually, like the Greater Fool and the Tulip Mania crisis and all that stuff, its thumb goes up until there's no more left to buy. And if you're the one holding the bag at the end and it starts falling, well, then too bad for you. There's a sucker born every day. So that's what this book's about. That's how Jim Cramer made his money. He didn't, I won't say he pumped and dumped, but he would talk about something, even in Mad Money. If you ever watched any of that stuff that was on, I don't even know if that show's on anymore. I don't watch CNBC. I haven't watched it for years. But back in the day when I used to watch him a little bit, he would bring someone in, and I'd always wonder, why is a lot of his picks losers? Well, he doesn't care if they win or lose. He just cares if he's going to be able to sell into the crowd, right? So, or he's got someone set up to be able to sell. So he's a smart guy. He's got other people. I mean, he's a journalist, right? So his degree's in journalism. He's able to talk about and a journal. Well, he's in law too, I think. But he's able to talk about something. And then who's to say he doesn't have Joe Schmo saying, all right, this is our plan. I'm going to talk about this. You, Joe Schmo, as I'm talking about it, they're going to buy into it, and then it'll give us the great opportunity to get out of it. I'm not saying, please don't infer that I'm saying Jim Cramer, because Jim Cramer, I don't know. I don't know him. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that that's how the pump and dump scheme works. So that's kind of why I don't follow any stock terms. That's why I trade futures. I mean, I don't need to. I mean, plus, you know, could I sleep at night knowing that I was ripping people off that way? You know, I don't know. I guess money is the greatest indicator of that. You used to think that kind of thing, that as long as you're, you know, as long as you're driving the nice cars, along those lines. I'm thinking about YouTube right now, and a lot of my videos, obviously I monetize them. You see the ad in front of it because, hey, I'm making a buck here and there wherever I can. But a lot of the videos that are monetized in front of my stuff, like that first 5 seconds before you click the ad, you know, everyone else is doing it. Why not? So, you know, it's on for. And then I watched this one guy the other day that is in front of one of my videos. When I loaded it up and looked, I'm like, I've made $5 million in the market, blah blah blah. And I'm looking at his watch, and I'm thinking, you know, I've got that watch. That's a Seiko watch. That's not something a $5 million winner is going to be wearing. I mean, hell, he's going to have a nice Rolex on, or some kind of good status symbol in front of him, not a Seiko. And then I was watching this other guy that talked about how great he is and the 3 simple strategies that he uses, 007, without saying names. And he's in front of my video as well, and I'm thinking, oh, that's crazy. I mean, but what he says, in fact, is true. I mean, you've got to have trading methods that you believe in. I mean, I have that too. I've got strategies that if this happens, then this output, right? So the statistical edge, in other words, is on my side. And who's to say that he does or doesn't? I haven't watched anything from him other than he's sitting there in front of me talking about things. And then you got this other guy that's talking in front of another one of my videos, and he's like, I'm 95% green. Well, what the hell was he talking about? Well, in other words, he's only 5% wrong in the market. Well, that one, that's one of those grab your wallet and run as quick as you can the other way. Who's to say those 5% losers? I mean, just because you're 95% green, if you're taking, like, for one guy that I used to watch back in the heyday of the internet and the chat rooms, and they first came out, I think one of these places they used to have chat rooms on, he would risk 10 ticks to make 1 tick. So So yeah, I mean, this was a guy that would win 90-something% of his trades or something like that. But when he would lose, you know, he was losing 10 ticks. Yeah, he made. Well, you were thinking he was trading the S&P, the big boys. So I think he was making, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 1 point for 10 points. So he's making like $250 or $500, something like that. But he was willing to risk 10 points on the other side of this. So he was willing to risk, like, if I'm not mistaken, he was making 250 to risk 2,500, or to make 500 to risk 5,000. It was, and he would hit this, you know. But the thing is, though, he'd hit that $5,000 loss occasionally too. He wouldn't talk about stuff like that. I mean, he was like, that didn't happen. I mean, those are, I'm never wrong. So I just thought about, yeah, so this is a guy that would claim that too, 95% green. That 95% of the times I'm coming in, I'm going to get this win. I don't know why I'm on this subject, but I see these guys in front of my videos, and I just, you know, take them with a grain of salt. Even me, you know, you can see that stuff that I have, although the CLPIT strategy is my strategy that I'll say that saves me a lot of times. It's more times than not, it's the one thing that I can always rely upon if I trade it correctly, that I can say, hey, this is the one strategy that I can get myself out of a hole, that I can win a combine, that I can win FTP, that I can win in funded. It's the confidence level of something that you believe and you can see and demonstrate that you have a statistical edge over. That's the overall goal as a trader. All right, so I'm off my soapbox. I thought I would talk about that for a couple seconds. So here we are in front of the inventory day, and let's see, what do we got going on? It is now about 18 minutes prior to the release of the report. Let's look top down. We've moved up today. You can see the market's up 154 ticks right now from the open. Let's move this over so you can see this. Here's the dailies making a nice big move up. So now we can say that this was the swing low here. Now we were talking about that last week, I believe, that here's the swing. Which way are we going next? Well, now you can see that we're making that move up. Now, is this going to be the top? Right here, you can see that if we would put a trend line on, we can see that there's probably going to be some form of resistance somewhere where we're trading right now. That, you know, I mean, if it gets above this level, then the odds that it could come up a little bit, spike, and then come back down again. So we can see that it's got to get through the current levels right now that we're trading at. Now, if we move our way to the hourly chart, we can see that we're coming up to what would be perceived, I think it's a double, and I think it's a triple top now. Go back to the days. Yeah, so we're coming up to this level here, which would be a triple top based upon where the dailies are previous. And then looking back here at the 67 range. So is this about as high as the market's going to get? So I'm going to keep that trend line on there, because that's a significant point that needs to be crossed and stay above, and that might be the point that we're able to trade later on today. So here's the hourlies coming off here, and this up move without a retracement. So we see that this up move started on August 15th. So we've been going up for 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5 days up without really coming back down yet. So who's to say that we won't come back down sometime soon? Moving down, 15-minute chart, we can see that, you know, the branches start getting weaker as we move up. So are the branches weaker up here? Are we able to take advantage above this R2 or not? I don't know. We'll see what the inventory shows. Are people that are in the know have already played into it? So someone that's in the know believes that the market was undervalued here, and they've moved it all the way up here to, is it overvalued now up here? Who knows? So that's kind of what you're thinking, at least that's what I'm thinking right now, being contrarian in nature as it relates to the market, that something that goes up, why do they want to bring it up? What's what's happening to make them think that it's undervalued down here and then it's overvalued, or it still has room to run? So right now we can think, well, $70 is the sticking point. And we know this. I mean, if you've been watching the market at all, you know that 65 to 70 has been the range lately that we've been going and bumping in between. Been going down around 65 and going up to around 70, 65. So that's roughly, and then the mid-range inside there is basically the 68 to 66 level. I mean, there's been a $2 range right now that both sides have been fighting. You have the shorts fighting down to 66 and you have the longs fighting up to 68. That's the current market as it relates to right now, and you see that's being played out as we're looking at the charts now. So, waiting on the inventory number. As far as numbers that there's been the highest bar today. It came in at 408, and at 408, 1892. So I'd like to see a bar higher than that. On the blue side, I don't believe we've had any bars above 1,000 yet, but let's just double check to make sure. You can see this is the only bar that I see right now above 1,000. Alright, so let's go back to the volume. So we have this bar above 1,000 right here at 408. What happens after that? The market pretty much goes all the way up here to 637, and then it goes up again, and it goes up again. So the market has been going up pretty much ever since this bar was printed, and then you can see the bar, actually it's been going up prior to this, but you can see that this bar here, now look, this is one of those things that just makes you think. This bar prints, usually when you see a red bar, it's coming in a down movement. You see the red bar volume come up. But when you see it in an up movement, just like you would see, this is a good reverse barometer that if you see a red up here, that it could sell off. Likewise, if you see a blue one in a short, it could go up. Now, it didn't do it this way, but right when it printed, you see it tried to sell off at this point. And then it decided, no, it's not really what it wants to do, and it went up anyway. But I would argue that this right here could have been a turning point if it wanted to in the market right there when it printed. Now, from here, the market's been up. If we look here, 66.52, and now we're trading at 67.18. So we're up about 70 ticks roughly from where this bar printed now. Now what I want to do though is mark the charts with the bar of what other people had perceived value in the session. So at 408, somebody believed that this was important enough to drive the market. So this is the range, if we get back into it, that you have your sell below, buy above at this point. So this is the buy above area, sell below, and right now, what do we expect? I mean, if the market does come down, it might come down to here and then bounce off of that. So knowing this in ahead of time and seeing that come into the charts a little bit later on could be helpful. So basically it looks like a little below that R1 line now. Alright, so I'm going to pause here. Let's wait for the inventories to come out. We're about 10 minutes from the report. Alright, so today 3P is 5152 ticks. So that's kind of what I'm hunting for. Although you see that I put out 155, that's a 9P target. 17 is a 1R stop. So actually it's 14, it's 16 today. So 14 plus 2 is 16, 14.07. We're going to round that one. That's close enough to go at 14 today. So 14 plus 2 is 16. Hopefully that one extra tick won't make a difference. So 16 times 2 is what, 32? So 2 losses in a row put me at 32. So hopefully I won't get to that, but if I do go 2 losses in a row and I'm above 30, I need to stop my trading. So I need to stop the insanity. So I really need to make a good second trade if I lose the first one. So one trade per bar is what I got to follow here. One minute away from the release. Red bar, 1608. It's not higher than the 408 bar though, so this could go either way. $9.31 finally, that's a minute in. Sell at 97 right now. Got to buy at 11. All right, so 66.97. 1P target is 66.80. Takes me out, then I need to watch for the second trade, waiting for volume. $66.80 is 1P. That's break even right there, close to it. A 3P target, if we can get it, pulls it into this range down here. All right, we didn't get it. So that was a -6, and now I need volume to kick in before I would take another trade on. So let's be patient and wait. When I see something, I'll unpause the video. I trailed stop behind that 16. It went 10 ticks our favor from 66.98. The 66.88 went 10 ticks our favor, and then you see it moving up right now. The other side of this was, what did I say, 11? So let's plug that in. 66.11, 67.11. A 1P target on the up is 28. See, we see some high blue bar volume up here. So it made 1P up. Let's get rid of this. And we'll play that into effect that maybe the other side of it was the true trade, since it was a bracketed trade. It was a bracket pretty much right in here. So maybe I should have taken that. Now obviously it looks like I should have taken it as it's moving up, going to the high. The 2P target on the up is 45. And the 3 is 63. see our first high blue bar volumes up here. We can start our count again. 63 is a 3p up move. It's really strong. Makes you wonder. $17.91 blue. We might be, yeah, you know what? We are in a tiebreaker now. 1892 versus 1791 or 1608. 1608, we're going to use that 1608 at 9:30. $17.91 comes in now. $9.38. And then we have this bar, $15.32, and what else do we have? $13.14 versus $15.32. It's fairly close to each other, so we're going to wait until we see another volume bar to kick in before we get involved in this. We're in a tiebreaker at this point. Now, ideally, right now, all things being equal, I would tell you I'd want to short below this 49. So it'll be interesting to see what happens underneath here. So I would be trying to get in around 47, but since I'm calling it a tiebreaker, I'm not going to get involved in this until I see the tiebreaker get broke. $183 difference between the two of them. All the way back to entry. A 1p target on that down move would bring it to 67.30. I'm going to pause here until I find something that's higher than the volume bars that we see right now. If I do see it, I'll unpause. So let's think about what I didn't do. Right now, I should be in the long. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. I should be in the long. And why? Let's go back and look at this line right here. So this line here comes in at the 9:30 mark. So from here down to this level, right in this area. So let's call it right in this area. Where's 9:30 start? Back here. You see the fall coming in right around this area. So below this line. To around there. So buy above right now is here, sell below is underneath here. Let's translate that out to our entry point. So just barely see a sell line, and then the buy point comes back right above here. So the buy above was much stronger, and that's the trade I should have taken. So woulda, shoulda, coulda, I should have been long. I missed that. I didn't re-enter on the other side of that because I didn't want to, when I bracketed this, maybe I need to keep that into mind, that a bracketed trade has the other side available to it. And especially since I only took a -6 on that. So I could have, woulda, shoulda, coulda, I could have been in this one. And maybe I was out now at the 2P, or maybe I'm still in it based upon where a 1P target would have been on the other side of this. And this would be the exit point. 31, 29, somewhere in that area. So at this point I'm in what I call a tiebreaker, and I'm not involved in it until I see something that makes me say, all right, this is where new conditions are set. And I'm trying, in other words, stay away from bad trading situation right now. Pausing. So let's talk about what can happen here. We could see the market fall back down into this range right here, and then show a high bar of volume. It's kind of what I'm expecting right now, is a drop down into roughly the same area again, and give us an opportunity maybe to get long on the way up. So we will see. Pausing. Oh, by the way, the market has been up 2, almost 3, and it's been down 1. So that's what we know right now. Another thing to keep in mind, the Gann's 137.5 degree angle today is right here, 67.33. That's kind of the angle of ascent, and we've already done it. The angle of ascent after that is 72, and we're at the high of 67.60. That would be the next angle up would be 190 degrees. All right. All right, here's something interesting. Remember that trend line we put on the chart to start with? The area that we needed to get above. And it's holding it right now. The shorts are fighting it. And obviously the longs are trying to get above it, because they know it's a significant point, right? Looking at Gann coming through here, that's 1 attempt, 2 attempt, 3 attempt, 4 attempt, 5 attempts trying to break through this line. So it could be a very powerful line break either side of that line. So where is it located roughly? I think I saw it on the 5-minute. So you can see the line. I don't know if y'all see this with white. Maybe we'll change colors here. make it something we can see. Something that'll show up on the other chart too, though. That should show up. So right at that break point. You can see them fighting it right there. Here's a 15-minute chart showing it a little bit higher. The hourly chart's probably more exact of where we are, though. Oh well, food for thought there. They're definitely fighting there. So what I'm getting at is it's somewhere above that level. There should be some high volume kicking in. And then we'll see what side wants to win the day from there. Okay, I thought I'd unpause here because we're coming up to the high. This could get interesting here. We'll see what's going to happen. There's 4 blues. See what happens above this high. There's our tiebreaker finally, 2060. It's a sell below line here. All right, so we've been as high today as 67.66. If we plug in the low, 65.98, by the way, we made a 3p up move. 63 was that 3p move. So plugging in 65.98, we have been almost 10p, 6770 from the low is a 10p move. If we would have been short, this could have been an opportunity right there at 60. Didn't like it there, but it's certainly coming off of that. 43 would have been a 1p down move. All right, I'm going to pause here until I find something I want to trade, but we definitely have the tiebreakers in. And I really don't want to go long above this level here because it's already moved so far. Then I'd rather be, there's only range up to say 10p right now, and if I'm coming in right here, it's only like 11 ticks. That's just not worth it. 11 versus 16. The profit's not on me to go long right now. All right, I'm looking to go short at 42 now. So that'll be it moving from 67.60, be catching the basically the 1p to go to 3p. Possible moving down 67.08, maybe as low as the break below that. We have an opportunity to trade it back down through here. So this would bring us in a 3p target from 67.60, and then maybe possibly getting down to here or lower. I don't want to go after 155 anymore though. I want to go after a 6p down move, which is 103. Well, actually 5, because we almost been 10. So 86. All right, I'm going to pause here. If I get filled, I'll unpause. You know where I'm trying to get in right now. Trying to short at 67.42. This is the tiebreaker line, and that came in at 10:15 a.m. I'm pausing because we're close to getting filled here. Maybe. We'll follow behind 26.6708. All right, we're in. 42, we were in and then it's gone straight up. This trade's according to plan. What we need is 26 and 08 on the drop. If this doesn't work out, then I probably should stand aside. I really don't want to go over. Minus 6 and 16 puts it at what, minus 22? And I'll still be above 30,000. I do want to risk a little bit above 58 because that's on perceived line. So that'll be a minus 23 if run out, or close to it. Wow, 42 low. Sometimes you're just completely wrong. I know I am. Market's proven it. It's moving a 1R against me right now. All right, can we get below 42 here? Got down to 41. Good fight going on right now. And then the market, they obviously, right now you can see if they can get this below, say 40, 39 area, we have the bottom can drop out. So you can see the buyers trying to fight it right now. $122 down here, was it's down at 67.40. Most nerve-wracking part of a trade right now. So 26 is break even right now. Falling 16 ticks behind here. $26 is 2. Remember, I'm expecting a bounce down here at around the 08 mark. It's good enough for break even on this trade. Went down 2p on the move. That would be an original entry point of 67.60 again, remember? Wow, look at that bullshit move right there. Okay, fight that off. Come on now. 41 was last break, so let's go 42. Can we get through 26? That's officially down to it and through. Good. We're through it. Now let's lock in some profit here. Hard day today. We're going to make sure we win today. Either it wants to fall or doesn't. This will be my last trade on day because I just don't like the way the market's acting. I'm worried about the R2 line. It's in 67.08. I'm still worried about that area if it's going to bounce. Damn it. What I didn't like about my short trade is it didn't fall quickly, hard enough, fast enough when it fell. Therefore, I felt as though the market is not as weak as I expected. So that's why I got to the exit lines, because I didn't like, I mean, honestly, if that market wanted to fall right there, There was no reason. Once we already reached, we've already been 1p. So I expected the market, once it reached 2, to get down to 3, to get down here. And when it didn't, I wanted out. That's the way I wanted this one here. Because I know 1 opens the door to 3. And if it doesn't, then it can be a strong reversal point. And you see most likely that in play right now. All right, I'm pausing here. We'll wrap this video up later in the session. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to just take my small win on today and move on to the next trading day. It's the new me. Take what's available and move on. And in fact, what you're going to see me do right now, if you don't know this about the, you can't actually see it, but on the T4 platform, I don't think you can see this on the charts, but when you see your T4, on the top there's a minimize button. And if you press the minimize button, guess what happens? Everything disappears. I know that keeps me from trading. And if this doesn't keep me from trading, hitting the minimize button, then the only other thing that I can do is close out completely and hit the X. For now, I'm going to hit the minimize button, see relax in front of me, be thankful that I'm up on the day, and just move on to the next trading day. I'll see you on the next video I put together. I'll have a little wrap up at the, we'll wrap this video up around the 1:30 mark CST, and we'll talk about the day as an overall at that point. Be back in a bit. Relax, people. Relax. I know I take my own advice, right?